Mark Kimmitt, who is a retired U.S. general and former Deputy Assistant Secretary of Defense for the Middle East Policy. He joins us now from Washington. Hi, Mark. Thanks for speaking to us. You know, no one's claimed responsibility for this attack, as I mentioned. Sure. And without knowing who did it, it's difficult to retaliate. Where does that leave the U.S. right now?
Well, I think, first of all, the U.S. is happy because no one was killed in this attack, but I think they are concerned that those firing rockets and mortars inside of Baghdad are clearly targeting much more precisely than they have before. Where in the past they've been trying to harass, now it seems that they're going to try to do more than that. So I think they're trying to gather the intelligence. There are a couple of different groups that are high on the suspect list. And I think the United States military is also taking a look at whatever options the president may decide in this case.
Right. Mark, is it time for the U.S. to pull embassy staff, at least, out of Iraq? Is it safe for them to be there?
Well, there's no embassy facility in the world that doesn't have some measure of risk. I think if you were to ask the diplomats on the ground, they would say, no, this is our job. We need to continue to carry on diplomatic functions, consular functions, even if it's at the risk of combat situations. The embassy was there during the worst of times in the 2006-2008 period, and I wouldn't suspect that they're going to be leaving anytime soon.
Tell us then, what would be an appropriate response to this attack on the embassy, remembering that Iraq does not want any sort of proxy war fought on Iraqi territory, right, and the parliament voted for all foreign forces to leave the country just 3 weeks ago.
Yeah, I think that, in fact, this may be a provocation to actually elicit a response out of the United States so that, in fact, the Iranian-backed proxies can use that to influence the government as further reason for the Americans to be ejected. So I think at this point the U.S. is showing a measure of restraint in terms of what can be done and what should be done, because it may be a self-fulfilling prophecy. If the Americans respond heavily, there will be concerns about violations of sovereignty. There will be accusations that we did this without the permission of the government. We may actually accelerate the desire of the Iraqis to push us out.
Right. What would it say to U.S. enemies, particularly to Iran, if the U.S. were to err on the side of caution and actually just force embassy staff to leave in the interest of their own safety?
Well, first of all, I don't think the United States is going to leave. If I heard your question, we're having a bit of technical problems here. But I don't think our position in Iraq is so insignificant that we can just leave the country. Hasn't happened in the past. I don't think it's going to happen anytime soon.
If they don't pull actual forces out, I'm saying if they just pull embassy staff to err on the side of caution here, would that send a message to Iran that there is fear and that somehow maybe those proxies are winning in Iraq?
Yeah. Well, that's exactly right, and I think that's why the diplomats don't want that to happen. I think there is sufficient force protection built into the embassy compound, and there's sufficient forces to protect them, that I don't think that they are even considering a massive evacuation of the embassy.
Okay. Mark Kimmitt, thank you so much for joining us there from Washington. We appreciate it.